order. Our first item is our pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Vice Chair, could you read our mission statement?
The mission of the Marshall Public School District is to educate, support, and prepare all learners for success.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion?
I'll move. I'll second.
Any additions?
Just one thing, Mr. Chair. We did invite new staff members to this meeting if they were not able to make the one earlier this month. So if we have any new staff members who can introduce themselves this afternoon, that would be great.
Okay, my name is Paula Carrasco, and I am a Yale student at Westside Elementary. And while I did my schooling at SMSU, and the reason I came back to Marshall Public Schools is because I like the diversity at the school. And that's basically it. What I have, well, today was actually the first time I met my students, and that was like the highlight of my this year so far. And one of the things I like the most too is helping my families that weren't able to speak English. I helped them register and register with them.
Paula, thank you for being here. Can you all introduce yourself to her just so she knows who you are as well?
Also, board member.
Aaron Zemer, board member.
Matt Coleman, board member.
Jeff Chapman, board member.
Sarah Runchi, board member.
Bill Swope, board member.
Thank you very much.
Well, nice to meet you guys.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We'll call for a vote on the agenda. It is approved. Tiger Spotlight.
We invited members of our core design group to the meeting this afternoon just to recognize them really for all the great work that they've done. Dion and I had the privilege of being in many of the meetings. I know Dion was in all of them, and maybe it would be good if we had them stand up and introduce themselves. Many of them you're going to know. And then just in 15 seconds or something, share a little bit about their thoughts regarding the work of the core design group. Because and Dion, you can jump in, it was really, you folks did excellent work, and you brought insight and perspective that I don't know that anyone else would have, because unless you're a teacher or a staff member in working with second, third, or fourth graders, we don't have that sort of on-the-ground experience. And so truly thank you for the work that you did on behalf of the school board and the district and the community. And you don't have to stand up if you don't want to and share anything, but I do think that our board would like to thank you for everything that you did, and we'll get to see the fruits of your labor in about 23 months, so it's really exciting. So if anybody wants to stand up and say a few words, please feel free to do that. Otherwise, I think we'll have you come up and take a group picture, and Tricia has cards for each of you as well. Anybody want to say anything?
I will. I'm Deanna Subi. I'm at Westside. And I thought one really amazing thing about our core design group is how we met together, and then we met also in specific learning spaces too, of our needs and wants and just how we could put those together. And I felt like my voice was heard. I know whether it can be a little bit different on paper or what it looks like to also be in the classroom and see those students and how they transition. And when a light bulb came on as I was thinking about it at night and I brought it to the meeting the next day, my vision was heard by our design group. Thank you so much. Dion, also for listening to a lot of the things that I spoke about, but also knowing that at one point in time, we could have 60 kids coming into the gymnasium, and knowing that it might arise a problem, and they were thinking about it, and all three architects together were like, yes, that could be a problem. How could we do this and this? And they got out their paper, and then they redid things, and it was just on the spot, and it was great working with them that way. So I really much enjoyed having those one-on-one times with them. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of that.
I'm Laura Jensen. I have special ed over at Parkside, but I just want to thank overall just the district for considering not only, teachers, they were very specific on special ed, music, phy ed, and I think making sure that everybody's voice was heard, everybody had a chance to share something. Just being able to represent who we are and the part of school that we really know. Like Mr. Munson had said, we're kind of those experts in that area. There was a few discussions here and there where it was like, no, this is where this is going to be, and it just happens to work here, and we really fought for different things, and so some stuff got shifted around, and I think the whole committee overall is very pleased with where things are at, and I'm really excited to see the final product.
Thank you.
I'd like to say the bonding group read all your notes and visited with the architects, and we really value your input. And it's your school, and you have to make it work, so I appreciated that.
I'll echo the thoughts of Bonnie, Indiana. The amount of input that the district listened to from teachers was amazing. Having come from Wilmer, they built a new school, a new elementary school there, and I don't believe that same type of process was used. So being a part of that was pretty amazing. And then also the architect company did just an excellent job building consensus with the overall design of the building. I had been to a meeting where we were kind of debating, like, I don't know, options A, point 1, 2, and we kind of had a schism between the group, and they really did a nice job building consensus and coming up with kind of not almost a compromise, but really a win-win on the overall layout of the building and where the media center was located and the lockers and the learning spaces. So the overall process, was just very satisfying. Really fun to be a part of. Thank you.
So why don't we have all of you come up front, and we'll distribute some cards to you, and then get a group photograph as well.
I think no board can.
Deanna, come on. It's not going to show through in the picture. Heather didn't read that.
Deanna, you didn't know you had to dress up.
Right. Should I? You might have to go in the.
Did your mind go? I don't take it off.
Moving on to our next item is our public forum. Anybody in the public that wants to approach the board, this is your time. Moving on to our presentation, Link Crew, 9th grade. Welcome. Be sure you talk into the microphone.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and board members. I've got a couple of students with me today, and we'll introduce them as we go throughout the presentation. Want to spend a little bit of time and talk to you about Link Crew. It's a program that we've had for a few years, but when we were looking for opportunities to share information with you, I felt like this is something that we probably haven't done, and so I thought this would be a good program to highlight. So with us today, we have Bella Hunsley, grade 11, and Joe Hansen, who's a senior at Marshall High School. They are both Link leaders, and I'll let them explain in a moment what that means. We have 3 advisors who help administer the program, and they're all 3 teachers at Marshall High School: Alex Body, Nancy Cole, and Hayden McKittrick. And we've had a couple. We had our main person was a counselor back when it began, and she moved on, and Mrs. Body stepped into that role. Mrs. Cole, when she came to us at her previous district, she was a middle school teacher up in the metro area, and they had used the sister program to Link Crew, so she had some familiarity with it. So she's been a nice addition, and Mr. McKittrick started with us this year. So he's sort of the understudy of the group in learning. But just would like to take a moment to talk about what Link Crew is. Link Crew is a national program that comes to us from the Boomerang organization or Boomerang Project, and it's really geared all towards high school transition for 9th grade students. And we know that 9th grade year is such a pivotal year, getting off to a good start academically, social emotionally, attendance-wise, and that really sets the stage for if a student has a positive 9th grade experience, their chances for success, on-time graduation, increase significantly. And so the program focuses on really doing a variety of things to welcome those freshmen, not just in the beginning, but throughout the entire first year. Just as importantly, it's a student leadership program that gives our juniors and seniors an opportunity to develop their own leadership skills, and those are skills that we know that they are going to need once they leave us and they move out into the global economy. But the opportunity to mentor and work with our 9th grade students, and they work with a group of about probably 8 to 10. Sometimes I think of them almost as sheep, and they're sort of the herders to guide our 9th graders along. And we just know that more and more studies and research is showing that if students have that positive experience, they're going to get off to really a great start. And so I'd like to, at this time, ask Joe and Bella to just talk a little bit about what it means to be a Link leader. I believe they're going to talk about the selection process, and then also the training that they had, and then what they do with our 9th graders throughout the year. So.
Hi, I'm Bella. I was a Link Crew leader this year, and the selection process was fun but stressful. We made a video to send to the 3 coordinators, and we told them why we wanted to be in Link Crew. One of the reasons I wanted to be in Link Crew was when I was a freshman, I was very nervous. And I had an older brother in high school, but he told me that the one thing he loved was Link Crew. And I didn't know what it was, and I was super nervous that all the upperclassmen are going to be super scary and that they were going to push us around. But when I was a freshman, that we did go through the Link Crew process, and I loved it. I loved it. And then when we had the opportunity of being in the Link Crew, being a leader in the Link Crew, I decided that I didn't want others to feel the way I did. So I decided to become a Link Crew leader.
I'm Joseph Hansen, senior at MHS. So I guess the application process kind of starts, the year prior. You sign up, you make the video, and then as soon as they've selected, then you, I guess go play different games with the Link Crew leaders, and man, I'm sorry, I'm nervous. I guess, you play games with them. And then throughout the summer, you come back, you play those same games, except this time it has kind of more of a prospect geared towards like this game is for, helping everyone become like, more, I guess friendly with each other. Like this game is for making people more comfortable. This game's for getting people to know each other's names. I guess when I was a freshman, I wouldn't say that I was nervous, but I was, coming from Max, which is like a class of 11. So I didn't know a whole lot of people. And, I guess throughout like Link Crew, I guess I met seniors. And I also, I guess met the people in my group who I still talk to today. So there's a really good chance to meet people.
So when you go through the application process, you go through all these activities. And when we went through the activities with just like the small individuals that got picked for Link Crew, we stressed a lot about being all together for a year. Like we're with them all through high school, their first year, even like the rest of the few years. We see them all around school. We want to help them get to class, and like on the first day, they were all like, I don't know where this class is. And even if you had like the shirt on, they were like, I don't know who you are, but where is this? And I think that was the big thing where they didn't know who we were, but we knew that we were there for them.
So to become a Link leader, they talked about the application process. It is a competitive process. We had last year, we had about 65 to 70 students apply to become a Link leader. They complete an application process. The 3 advisors talk with their teachers. We check on things such as attendance. We look for a cross-section, and we want a diverse group of Link leaders that mirrors the diversity that we see within our students. And when I say diversity, I'm not necessarily just talking about ethnicity. That's part of it, but involvement in activities. And so we're really looking for students who represent what Marshall High School is and what it looks like. And so as they go through that process, as Joe mentioned, we do training at the end of the year. They come back and then they do, you did 2 days of training during workshop week in anticipation of receiving those 9th graders. And so there's really 4 key components to Link Crew. And so the first one really starts before that, and the leader initiated contact. So they're divided up into their teams. They contact all of those students prior to school starting via phone, reach out, have a conversation, welcome them to the high school. And that moves us into our day 1 activities. And so we're fortunate because you all give us the flexibility and the time on that first day where we run a staggered start. Our 9th graders come right away in the morning at 8 o'clock. And so from 8 to noon, they're doing Link Crew activities. They're with their Link leader. That group of 8 to 10, it's everything from a tour to get to know you activities. If you think about 25% of our 9th graders are coming to us from different schools. And so there's opportunities to get to know one another. And then they take care of some of those management issues that seem to always be very stressful. How does lunch work? That's a big one. Will my locker work? And so they work and do some of those type of things. But the whole time they're really working to build a connection with those students. Once we get past the first day, Bella mentioned the shirts. We always have different colored shirts on that stand out, that are different colors, so our leaders are easily spotted, and sort of the how may I help you type of mantra. We have, after we move past day 1, then we have really the two big areas, and these are ongoing: the academic follow-ups and the social follow-ups. The academic follow-ups, our 9th grade students do not receive the 1-hour lunch for the first 6 weeks of the first semester. They go to something that we call guided study time. So they work with their advisory teacher, and we have a Link leader who's with that group that comes in and spends time with them each and every day. We also use that time for our sort of welcome to Marshall High School. They'll attend sessions on technology. They'll attend a session on the Media Center. They'll spend time getting to know the folks in student services, school nurse, all of those things that help make a successful 9th grade year. And in addition, they'll have plenty of time to work on their academic issues. And our goal is at the 3-week grading period, which is this Friday, 100% of those freshmen passing all of their classes. And our link leaders are there to help do that. In addition to the academic follow-ups, there's the social follow-ups. We'll do some activities throughout the year, every Friday in guided study time. I think it's been nicknamed Fun Friday that our link leaders have named. They'll take those 9th graders that they're with and go out and do some sort of more of a fun, a social activity during that 1-hour lunch. We'll do, at some point for a home football game, we'll do a freshman tailgate. As we get into the semester change for finals, they'll do kind of a combination academic and social follow-up with a study session where we've got some businesses that donated some gift certificates, and they'll do popcorn and those types of things. So it's ongoing throughout the year, and the idea is that it's self-fulfilling. So just like Bella said, she had a great experience as a freshman that drives her to want to become a link leader 2 years down the road. So to be a link leader, you have to be either a junior or a senior. It's been in existence at MHS. We started it back in the 2013-2014 school year. We had looked at it for a couple of years prior to that. Needed to make sure we had a funding model in place for that. But when you look at that second bullet point and you think about the number of students that it's impacted, you can see how this program can really have a large impact. And each year we just refine it and we figure out ways to improve on it, ways to make it better. One wrinkle that we had this year that really turned out to be a great opportunity is we were able to use Red Baron Arena for the day on day one. And so we just feel like we like the program because all of our kids benefit from it. They're going to get out of it what they want to put into it. And I think so far, would you say you feel like the participation on the part of the 9th graders has been overall positive? Yeah. And so, again, if we can get off to a great start, that really helps. And again, it's not just our 9th graders, but it's helping those link leaders develop some really great skills that they're going to need moving forward. Is it working? And that's the question we always need to ask ourselves with anything. This program, I would say the fact it's utilized in 44 states, many schools around Minnesota use it. That was one of the vetting sort of process when we looked at it back in 2013, who's using it and what's their feedback. 20 years. If we look at our data last year, and we always survey those 9th graders after a couple of weeks to see how and get some feedback on ramp up. So I don't have the 19-20 data, but you can see the 18-19 data, that's positive. The academic data, and certainly it's not all because of Link Crew. We're doing a lot of other things, but if we look at last year, and we can see how at the end of semester 1 and at the end of semester 2, those passing percentages of our students last year were higher than what we've seen. So I feel like we're doing things where we're continuing to make progress, and this is just one key part of that whole puzzle that tries to help our freshmen be successful. Any questions that board has for us?
That's good data, Brian. Thank you for your leadership, ladies and gentlemen.
So how many leaders are there? You say 65, 70 apply. How
Yeah,
many do you?
this year I think we're at about 44. So over the years we use Ramp Up, and you've heard me talk about that. We have 13 Ramp Up, freshman Ramp Up classrooms. We divide a Ramp Up group in half. So it starts with the computer just uses its algorithm to schedule 9th graders into Ramp Up. And so we take each Ramp Up, we split it in half, and we know we're going to need 2 link leaders with each of those. And so some groups have 3, and so when they go into guided study time, like Joseph always goes in on Mondays, on Thursdays, so he's always there. Half of those students in that Ramp Up he worked with on day 1. Those were his students, and whoever your partner was with you. Same thing for Bella. So those are some of the changes we've made over the years, just to try to get more consistency so they get to know that group of 9th graders, those 8 to 10 students, and then it's not just one day and done, but they're with them for the first 6 weeks, and then with those activities throughout the year.
Ella was one of my girls, I'm just had to say that.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're going to the oath of office presentation for our school board reps. All right. Are you ready? Can you guys stand up? I'll come down. How this go? Good? Good?
It's an honor that you were selected to guide the education of the community's children. In carrying out your responsibility, you will be asked to fulfill the roles of vision, structure, accountability, and advocacy. To achieve the vision, the board establishes a structure and creates an environment designed to ensure all students the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework. A lot of words. As board members, we serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students in our community schools to advocate the vision of our schools. Furthermore, we must strive to work together with the superintendent and the staff to lead the district toward fulfilling the visions we have created. Having signed, you haven't signed these yet, but after you sign these, I will hereby publicly affirm commitment to the oath of office. Are you ready to repeat after me? I affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
That I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of this state,
and of the state,
and that I will discharge faithfully
and I will discharge faithfully
the duties of the office of school board member
the duties of the office of school board member
of Independent School District 413
of Independent School District number 413
to the best of my judgment and ability.
to the best of my judgment and ability.
Congratulations. When you get done, you sign those and then give them back to Trish, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Must be the bifocals. Moving on to our consent agenda, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? Hearing none, please vote. Is approved. Moving on to our financials. I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
A second.
It's open for discussion.
Just a couple of things to point out. Early in the year, we've got a lot of the curriculum going through and some testing for bills. If you've looked through some of the financials, we do have our safety grant that's ran under general fund, the expenditures. We do get our revenue back from the state for that, but otherwise nothing really out of the ordinary.
Any questions, board members? Hearing none, I'll call a vote. Is approved. Anything with financials?
No, revenue and expenditures are about where last year and the previous year were. We're right on track.
Board members, it's board forum time. Anybody like to bring up anything? We just did the tour of all the buildings. The buildings are in good shape. Administrator's report.
Hopefully, again, you had an opportunity to read through them. I do every month, and there's some really good information in there. And just to highlight a few things in my report, and I believe each of you has a brochure kind of outlining the MREA conference, Minnesota Rural Education Association Conference, November 17th through the 19th at Craigan's. It's it's been a good conference when I've been able to attend. If you're interested, I think you can let Tricia know, and we'll handle the logistics for you. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison will be here on September 24th from 1 to 4 p.m., meeting with middle school students and middle school staff. All of you are invited. In Tiffany's report, she shared information. There is an introduction day video that's available on social media if you want to kind of see some things that happened in early childhood on that first, kind of the first couple days. Please take a look at that video. And then she also shared, we have some new staff in our early childhood family education program and classes, and several of the classes were full even before they started. So that's a good thing. That means that our families are finding those useful and helpful, and we'll have to continue to look to expand that menu. Both Darcy and Eric shared information about assessment days at their respective schools, and then Eric also shared information, among other things, about Tiger Pride and PBIS information at Westside. Mary Kay's report shared a lot of information about different programs, opportunities for students, including something I'd say kind of like Link Crew. Not as formal probably, but they have ambassadors, which is a really good idea. And then also just a variety of activities that have taken place at the middle school. In Brian's report, among other things, he shared information about advanced placement. The number of students taking AP classes has increased, and the number of students receiving a 3, 4, or 5 on the AP exam, which is desirable, also increased. So those are both positive. And then worth noting, next week is homecoming week, the 23rd through the 27th. So that's always an exciting time in Marshall and every school. In Amanda's report, she shared that 33 of 34 families attended the back-to-school registration, so outstanding turnout for that. And also that both CNA and welding classes have started. And I believe the CNA has like maybe 10 adults that are also registered. So if you think back to, that's a way that we can sort of keep that mass number of students increased by running both students high school aged and adults through those courses, so that's a positive thing. In Bruce's report, he shared that the M Club Athletic Hall of Fame banquet is October 5th at 6 p.m., starting at 6 p.m. at the Red Baron Arena. There are 4 inductees this year, and if you don't know already, Pursuit of Excellence for Marching Band is this weekend, so that'll be an exciting event. Jeremy shared information about the professional learning community work that takes place every year, but just the beginning of the year gives us a good chance to refocus on that, and then also a little bit of insight in terms of the curriculum work that's happening. Jackie shared information about, excuse me, I skipped Jeremy. Jackie shared information about special education training and focuses, the first week of back-to-school workshop, and also we're in the self-review stage of the Minnesota Department of Education monitoring, which I believe is a 6-year process. Scott Vandermillen shared information about that Studio One television had broadcast, I believe, 3 or 4 Tiger events that hopefully will continue, and also that there was a back-to-school movie night held on August 22nd at the Red Baron Arena. I believe that was free of charge, and we had 168 attendees. Yeah.
Update on the safety and security. You guys were able to see that on our tour. Hopefully it was nice to be able to see what the work, the work's been put into that. High school gym, the only thing, you guys were able to see that too. Looks great. We're going to be actually starting to use it on September 23rd and not the 20th. I can't thank, I'm going to probably miss a lot of people, but Brian and Bruce, their patience and utilizing the Red Baron Arena, the association with the city on that. Companies like Bisbee that came in, they were able to get some of our intake trays redone, so we hopefully don't have this problem again. Brian Lincoln, his company that came in and cleaned up the smoke and everything, did a great job. You guys can see that. But there's a lot of collaboration in the whole project, and hopefully we see it reopened on Monday. And Dan Westby, can't forget Dan and his patience in getting through, utilizing SMSU too, helping us get through with letting us use their facility for volleyball. Other than that, just if you look at the last page, it's a memorandum we put out each year about our district travel expenditures. Nothing, we didn't change any amounts or anything. We did change the federal reimbursement, mileage reimbursement that's usually updated each year, so that's 2019, and then that would change automatically 2020 with whatever they decide that goes to.
Very good, thank you. Student school board members, did you have anything you'd like to bring up?
I can go first. Okay, so I'm going to do a little summary on what my whole thing is about. So I'm a high school junior at MHS. I have 7 siblings that I love, but they can really get under my skin, like, really. I try to participate in, like, a lot of things, like activities during school, because, like, you never know when it's going to end. I love to listen to music, and I love to learn about new things in general. No matter what it is, I'll listen. And that's what I like to do. I love to read, and I love to help my mom around the house. That's it. Pretty good.
She's also Amran's sister.
Oh. And I am.
That's a good thing.
I'll go next. Hello, I am Smia Osman. I'm in 11th grade and I have 5 siblings, 2 brothers and 3 sisters. I am the oldest of all of them, so nobody listens to me, and I'm in charge most of the time. I've joined speech and I've done it 2 years before. I really love it. I've done extemporaneous speaking, which is talking about materials of the news, and I've done informative speeches, and this year I've decided I want to do this discussion. I've done Yellow Ribbon, Student Council in the fall play, acts, and a lot of other things, at art club. I love getting involved and meeting other people with similar interests. I'm interested in doing something in business. I haven't decided yet, and I have taken most of the business classes they have at the high school.
He's also taking an advanced placement European history class with Mr. Purrington right now.
It's so hard. Homework every day, quizzes every week.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Spencer Bang. My parents are initially from Laos, but came to the United States to find a better life. And I'm a junior this year, and I have 8 people in my family. I am the youngest in the family. I have my parents, my 5 older sisters, and my 1 older brother. Some of my interests and hobbies include bike riding, swimming, art, traveling, writing, hanging out with my friends and family, and trying new foods.
You're welcome. Moving on to our discussion items, this is to be the first review of the policies listed below. Anybody have any questions?
Just a note on this, each year, typically in August or September, we get information from the Minnesota Department of Education about policies that need to be updated for a variety of reasons. Oftentimes, it's because of changes in case law, or maybe a statute is updated or whatever. But most of these, if I'm not mistaken, have what we would call substantial changes. As such, we'll run them through ask you to put them through a 3-reading process, just so you can have a chance to weigh in on them and make sure that they're what you want.
Moving on to our action items, approval of the certificate of preliminary levy. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion?
So each year, prior to November 30th, we need to either, the board needs to either approve the maximum levy or the specific dollar amount. From now until December, when we actually have our final that you guys approve. It's a moving target. Just since from Thursday to today, it's been updated. It's moved a little bit. But everything, I was on the phone with Jody from Ellers, everything's on target for what referendum dollars were. In fact, it's actually a little better. I told her each time I talked to her, if it's a little better every time, maybe we'll be in the negative sometime, but she couldn't promise that. So basically what we asked the board at this time is to approve the maximum levy. What that means is if the levy goes up, we can approve it at that level. If you do the specific dollar amount it is now, if it were to go up, we could only do what the dollar amount you approve is. So typically we approve the maximum, and then in December you'll approve what the actual amount is.
Very good. Any questions, board?
Do we know what that, we don't know what that number is? Do we have a percent or
We do.
what is it?
Right now, last one that was ran, it's total 9.84.
Okay.
I'll make a motion. Well, the motions are there. I'll go ahead and call for a vote. It's approved. Approval of the 2019 Assembly Legislative Resolution. We have a motion.
I'll move. I'll second.
It's open for discussion.
So hopefully you had a chance to read through this, but this would be basically a resolution that I anticipate several school districts will submit to the Minnesota School Boards Association for inclusion in the delegate assembly process, where the MSBA delegate assembly, hopefully we'll have 2 members from this board on the delegate assembly from our district or region. But this resolution would then be considered by the entire delegate assembly, and at some point in time, the delegate assembly would vote on it and decide, will it move forward in the process and ultimately end up in the legislative platform. We are, in our region, one of the, I won't say only, but close to only school districts or service cooperatives who offer special education sites and programs to other specific school districts. So it's difficult for the Southwest West Central Service Co-op to provide the facilities maintenance on those sites without having to directly charge the school districts for those costs. And this would create some additional flexibility and or potential funding sources for school districts to utilize if they chose to do so. And if you've had a chance to look at it, I'd be happy to try to answer any specific questions, but I think it's a good thing that we, that you as a board move it forward.
I agree. Any comments? Any questions? Hearing none, let's vote. Is approved. Next board action is 2019, 2020, 21, updated PSEO agreement with SMSU. Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
It's open for discussion.
So this is just renewing our agreement with SMSU. Would like to thank Deb Kirkhart and SMSU. They were, we negotiated the per semester credit, and I feel like we got a fair price. Went up $13 from last year and only $7 from FY 20 to 21.
Do we have any idea how many students are participating this semester?
I don't have it in front of me, but I can get it to you. I did actually have that from Brian.
Brian,
Hey, Brian.
When the future board report?
That's fine. How many do we usually average per semester, Brian?
Just a second. average has been about 15 students.
Per semester?
Each semester.
Do we have to buy the books?
We changed that a few years ago. We pay a book fee.
A rental?
Yeah.
That's it.
And the kids then return those books to the bookstore.
Yeah, it's included in that per credit.
Pardon?
It's included in the per
Is it?
credit. Yep.
It's a good deal.
Yeah, it is.
I'll call for a vote, please. It is approved. Approval to nominate Matt Coleman to the Southwest West Central Board of Directors. Motion to approve.
I'll second.
It's open for discussion. Matt does a fine job there. It's a very important job, too, so we're good to represent him. I'll call for a vote. It is approved. Nomination of Aaron Zima and Sarah Ronchi to MSBA Delegate Assembly.
So move.
I'll second. Any discussion? It's good to be represented.
Yeah, thank you both for stepping up to the plate.
I'll call for a vote. It is approved. And the meeting's adjourned.